welcome to my channel. We're going to talk about the key to manifesting changes in people, to seeing people in your life that are behaving in a certain way that does not make you happy, changing that behaviour. Yes, we can do that. We can absolutely do that because what will happen is we will shift in reality, where the reality that we start experiencing is one where they are behaving in a certain way. It's nothing to do with them changing their behaviour. So you're not looking at this person and making them change their behaviour, messing around with their head, whatever it is you think that you're doing, affecting their free will and changing them. You're not really, this is my opinion of course, you're not really changing that person, you are changing your version of reality. So this changes in accordance with what you want to experience. And I'm going to tell you the fastest way to do this, because I did this fairly recently, just like this, and the changes, fairly recently, a couple of years ago, changes started to take effect within a few days, which was crazy. And I did it partly with wanting to do it, but partly with kind of giving up on trying to do it. And it was a twofold thing here. And I've always known this to be the case with everything with manifestation, but it's very difficult to put it into place with people, but this is what I did. It's expectation. And I'm not talking about expectation of a manifestation or anything like that. I'm talking about your expectation of that person, because you will have an expectation of them because how you want them to behave, and they don't behave like it. So you then linger in the energy of the way that they are behaving because you care too much. You care too much about changing that behaviour. But it's not just your expectation of them, it's what you think their expectation of you is. So this for me was a twofold thing. The first thing I did was drop the feeling of the expectation the person in question had of me. I thought, do you know what? I don't care anymore, because actually your expectation is not my problem. That's your problem. It's nothing to do with me, your expectation of me. Why am I making that my problem? I'm not going to adapt my behaviour for your expectation because it just isn't working, you know, so I'm not going to do it. And the relief in that was amazing. And then the next part of it after that was dropping my expectation of the person in question, of them behaving in any particular way, just not caring, just saying, okay, you do you and I'm going to do me. And that in itself was a relief. Just that whole dropping of expectation on both sides was enough to completely change things within a few days. I mean, it's a radical change. It was a radical change. And I'm very much one that as soon as it happens, I just accept it. I go with the flow. And I think the reason that this is happening is because I've selected a reality that I want to experience. And now I'm letting it happen. And when you're really trying to change someone's behavior and you're affirming for it, you're not letting it happen. You're basically trying to force reality, trying to bend space and time, whilst underlying on the lower layers of you, the deeper layers of you are completely in contradiction with what you're trying to do. So that might be a really deep-rooted belief that they are a certain way, or a really deep-rooted belief that you can't actually do this, that you're just ignoring, or a really deep-rooted belief that you're not worthy of it anyway. So if there's something like that you've got going on in the deeper layers of you, that's just the way I'm describing it, but do you know what I mean? And then you're trying to affirm over that, you probably, I want to say definitely won't, but you probably won't change anything. I speak to a lot of people that have spent years affirming and never really changed anything, because there's a core belief or assumption going on in there that's completely in contradiction. And because it's in there and they're ignoring it, it's on autopilot. You cannot ignore it because your subconscious knows all. And so although you can try to ignore it and pretend it isn't there, it is. And it's still doing its stuff on autopilot. And it's much more powerful than those forced affirmations. However, if you're affirming for something in a very light-hearted manner and robotically and not really thinking too much about it, but keep saying the words over and over and over, that's when you tend to have success, when you're not too attached to the outcome. You're not so invested in it that it has to happen. But really speaking, do we ever really want to affirm for anything if we're not that invested in it? Again, it depends what it is, but people is a whole different thing, isn't it? We get very attached to people, very attached to outcomes, and affirming for things can be very tricky. And I would always suggest, if you're going to affirm for anything, affirm for those deeper feelings and beliefs, to destroy those and get rid of those, although there are quicker ways you could do it, but I'm not going to go into that now. Over the thing that you want. Because okay, let's say you affirm the thing that you want, and let's say it is a person, and you're wanting a person to come back into your life, and you're affirming for that and affirming over and over and over. But you've got some resistance there, but you keep doing it, keep persisting, and then whoa, you get contact from them and you think, yay, I've done it. And then a week later, they're gone again. And you're constantly affirming for more from that same subject. But what if you affirmed to get rid of, to deal with the deeper things that are going on within you? Then you wouldn't have those issues. So when it did resolve, you'd be able to manifest other things based on the fact that you dealt with those deeper layers, that you weren't just affirming for one thing at a time. The idea of just affirming for one thing at a time, I just think, why? Why would I want to do that? Why would I not want to get better at this as a whole, so I don't have to affirm for anything? So I just know that things are going to happen, or I know there's a 95% chance that something is going to happen, and that's how I am now, and that's what I've done through working at this as a whole and not affirming for certain things. I have affirmed for certain things in the past. I've never got those things that I affirmed for. I did get them eventually, but not through affirming, through letting go and just going, do you know what? Let's just see what happens, and being much more lighthearted about it. It's the light touch with this, because manifestation is not about push, it's not about shove, it's not about force in any way. It's about flow. And if you're trying to force with affirmations and you can feel the force, you might as well stop now, because you will waste your energy, you will get frustrated, you will get disappointed, you might get partial manifestation, doesn't come to anything. It is just that, again, I say it's my opinion, but it's my opinion based on my own experience. And I guess the coaching clients I get are like-minded. So, I'm hearing from people that feel the same way as me, that have done the same thing and it hasn't worked for them. And I know that there are loads of people out there that affirmations work for. But in this case with people, I would just go, don't do it, because you're putting all of your energy into manifesting a person. So what have you done? If you're putting all that energy into manifesting a person, you've put them on such a pedestal. You have, because you're trying so damn hard to have them in your life when you are more important. This is your reality. You're the important one, So affirming for a person over and over and over and getting yourself in a state about it is you're saying to yourself that they're better than you, that you've got to put all of this effort in to get this person, to have this person in your life, when really you are the center of your reality. So don't give your power away. I know that's going a little bit off point here, but the expectation thing, what is that? Expectation is waiting, isn't it? So if you're in expectation, you're expecting somebody, so you're trying to make somebody behave in a certain way, and you keep seeing them not behaving in that way because they never do behave in the way you want them to and you really want them to. So then you're living in expectation, and you're not really putting pressure on them, because it's all about you. You're putting pressure on yourself, really. But if you look at it this way, you're trying to back somebody into a corner to behave in a certain way that comes in line with what you want them to be. But really, it's because you're thinking about changing them. If you pull away from the changing a person and just changing your version of reality, then it stops being about changing that person. It just becomes about changing your reality, and taking away that expectation just gives so much free flow to this. It really does open a massive door for things to change. And I've changed people this is the third time that I've done it in a major way, and this is the only time I've done it like this, because I just kind of like, whatever, I just can't do this anymore. And I think it's a real thing that we don't really realize, that often we're walking around in life with other people's expectations piled down on us, and we're trying not to say things so we don't offend somebody, and do things in a certain way so that it's validation, isn't it, really? We have some sort of need of validation from that person, otherwise we wouldn't care. And when you stop looking for that and you start thinking, okay, you do have expectation of me, okay, at the moment, and again, I'm not going to let your expectation of me be my problem. I'm just going to do me. And then you can have that expectation, but then as soon as I stop it from being my problem, I don't feel it. It's like a massive weight off your shoulders when you do that. So like I said, it's a twofold thing. So you have to do that, because often we don't see that as part of the issue. We just see our expectation of them, we might see as an issue, but we don't kind of turn it around and go, what expectation do I think that they have of me? And am I trying to accommodate that? Okay, right, that's 50% of the issue here. Both of it needs to go. And as soon as you do that and you just go, look, I'll let you be you. You just carry on doing you. I know what I want. I know what I'm intending. I know what I want to see. It would be lovely to see this. But in the meantime, you just carry on being you. I'll carry on being me. I will not going to worry about it because it is what it is now anyway. So what's the point? You know, if I see more of it and dwell in it, I'll get more of it because I'm living in the energy of it. So I'll keep myself in this version of reality. I want a different version. But in the meantime, if I just take away expectation on both sides, I'm going to feel free. I'm going to feel so much freer, and only good can come from that. So here's my challenge to you. If you've got this going on, try it. Just try it. Just give yourself 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to look at dropping their expectation of me, thinking that's their problem, not mine. And I am going to drop any expectation of them changing. I'm going to go, that's how it is. Okay, I'm living with it at the moment. I am going to stop trying to change. I'm just going to let them be, let them do them, and I'm going to do me. And see how that feels to start with. And when you think of something in short bursts of time, if you just think 2 weeks, you think you can do that. We can do that. 2 weeks is nothing. Give it a try, see how much better it feels, because at the end of the day, it's got to be about feeling better first and not about forcing that change, because you just want to feel good. With me, it was just like such a relief. I absolutely felt light as a feather. And that's what you want to do. And when you feel like that, what will happen is you won't care so much anyway. And when you don't care so much, that's when things change. Right, I hope that this was useful. If you don't know anything about me, I'm an author, manifestation coach, and a mindset coach.